The massive crystal hall of the Galactic Council sparkled under the light of 3 artificial suns. 200 alien species sat in rising tiers that circled a central speaking platform. The air hummed with tension. High Chancellor Vorthax, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms, stepped onto the platform. His upper set of hands held a ceremonial staff while his lower hands gripped the edges of an ancient scroll. The hall fell silent. "We have deliberated for 7 cycles," Vorthax announced, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. "The decision is final. The Council hereby declares a state of war against the planet designated as Earth and all human territories." Most delegates thumped appendages in agreement. Some hissed approval. A few remained still, eyes darting nervously. In the far corner of the hall, at a simple desk much lower than the others, sat Commander Lisa Moore. She wore the navy blue uniform of Earth's Space Force with minimal decoration. Her brown hair was pulled back in a neat bun. As the only human in the room, she should have looked afraid. She didn't. Lisa finished writing a note on her tablet, took a sip from her coffee mug, and raised her hand calmly. Vorthax seemed startled. "The Earth representative wishes to speak?" "Yes, thank you," Lisa said, standing. Her voice was even, almost friendly. "I just need clarification on the timeline. When does this declaration take effect? Immediately? Or is there a formal waiting period per Article 17 of Council Protocols?" The hall erupted in confused murmurs. "Effective immediately," shouted Graxnar of the Orion Collective, his spiny face flushed orange with anger. "Your species has exhausted our patience." Lisa nodded. "Thank you for the clarification. I'll inform my government immediately." She sat back down and resumed, typing on her tablet. The council members exchanged baffled looks. Where was the begging, the panic, the offers of surrender? Lisa smiled politely at a server droid that refreshed her coffee, then continued making notes. 12 light years away, President Jack Nelson stood before a bank of cameras in the White House Rose Garden. At 62, with salt and pepper hair, and the sleeves of his white shirt rolled up to his elbows, he projected an image of casual competence. "My fellow Americans and citizens of Earth," he began. "Approximately 20 minutes ago, I received word from Commander Moore that the Galactic Council has declared war on our planet and all human territories." He paused to take a sip of water. The Defense Council will meet at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Commerce will continue as normal. There is no need for panic or disruption to your daily activities. The gathered reporters erupted with questions. "Mr. President, what preparations are being made?" Nelson smiled. "The preparations we've been making for the last 70 years. Next question. Are we in danger of immediate attack?" "No more than we were yesterday," Nelson replied. "We've tracked their fleet movements for months. They'll need at least 2 weeks to mobilize their main battle groups." "Will there be rationing? Or a draft?" "Not at this time. Our volunteer forces are at full strength, and supply chains remain secure. I suggest everyone keep a normal 2-week emergency supply of food and water, as we've always recommended." Across the country, Americans went about their day. In Iowa, farmers checked weather reports for the harvest. In Seattle, software engineers debated lunch options. In Boston, college students hurried to classes. News of interstellar war competed with sports scores and stock reports on digital feeds. At North American Defense Command inside Cheyenne Mountain, General Patty Rogers reviewed incoming intelligence reports. Her office walls displayed real-time tracking of both Earth's defenses and the positions of known council ships. "They've declared war but haven't moved their fleets yet," her aide, Colonel Ben Foster, noted as he brought in fresh status reports. "Classic council posturing," Rogers said, leaning back in her chair. "They expect us to fall apart at the seams after their big announcement." "Should we raise alert levels?" Rogers glanced at the main display. "Bump it up to condition yellow. Have the orbital platforms run their standard diagnostics. Nothing that would look like weapons activation. Let's not show our hand yet." Grand Admiral Zixvalar paced the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep stress among the Arcturians. The massive viewscreen showed Earth, a blue-green marble suspended in black space. "Report," he demanded, his scaled skin shifting from blue to purple. Commander Nixital stepped forward, bowing slightly. Admiral, we have deployed 30 scout ships in Earth orbit. They report minimal defensive response, no emergency broadcasts, no mass mobilization. Zixveller stopped pacing. Impossible. They must understand we have declared war. They understand, Nixital said. Their ambassador acknowledged the declaration. Then why aren't they afraid? The Admiral's voice rose. Show me their planet activities. The view screen changed to show various scenes from Earth. A baseball stadium filled with cheering fans, highways busy with cars, beaches crowded with swimmers, and schools full of children. This makes no sense, Zixveller muttered. Our declaration has been ignored. Not ignored, sir, Nixital corrected. Their military bases show slightly increased activity. Their orbital platforms have run diagnostic tests. But there is no panic. No evacuation of cities, no emergency government sessions. The Admiral slammed a fist on the command console. They think we are bluffing. We, the Galactic Council, who have conquered 17 rebellious worlds. Perhaps they don't understand our power? Nixital suggested. Then we shall educate them, the Admiral said, eyes narrowing. Prepare a report for the Council. I want permission to launch a demonstration strike. Lieutenant Owen Kelly floated. In the observation dome of Luna Base, Earth's largest moon facility, through the transparent dome, he could see the home planet shining bright blue against the blackness of space. He also saw the strange shapes of alien scout ships, their purple hulls reflecting sunlight as they moved in predictable patterns. You, counting alien ships again? Asked Sergeant Judy Miller as she joined him, pushing herself through the zero-gravity section with practiced ease. 30 of them now, Owen said, tapping data into his tablet. Same scan patterns as yesterday. You'd think they'd be sneakier about it, Judy said. It's like they want us to see them. I think they do, Owen replied. They're waiting for us to freak out. Judy snorted. Fat chance of that. My kids are more worried about their math test tomorrow than alien invaders. Owen nodded toward Earth. Base Commander wants standard observations, no special attention to our visitors. Playing it cool. I like it. Judy pulled up her own tablet. Want to grab lunch after shift? Sure. Cafeteria's serving pizza today. Neither of them gave the alien ships another glance as they went back to work. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unusually chaotic. Species that normally maintained rigid protocol were shouting across the chamber. The humans are mocking us, bellowed Delegate Cracks of the Tauran Federation. Perhaps they are simply ignorant of space warfare, suggested the more peaceful Ventusian representative. High Chancellor Vorthax raised all 4 hands for silence. We have received Admiral Zixvelar's report. The humans appear unnaturally calm. Either they are fools, or they know something we do not. The chamber grew quiet at this unsettling thought. I propose we authorize a small military demonstration, Vorthax continued. Not our main fleet, but enough to show our resolve. The Earth desk remained empty. Commander Lisa Moore had returned to her planet the day before, leaving only a small note that Earth would respond to communications through standard channels. The Council voted overwhelmingly to approve the demonstration strike. In the Pentagon strategy room, General Rogers studied the intelligence reports with her team. The walls displayed real-time tracking of Council ship movements. They're gathering a strike force, noted Colonel Foster. Looks like about 50 ships. Rogers nodded. Right on schedule. Alert Captain Grant on the Steadfast. Her patrol will make first contact. Should we warm up the orbital platforms? No, Rogers said firmly. Standard power only. I want them to think those platforms are just communication relays. The Council ships will be here in 36 hours, Foster said. Rogers smiled slightly. Perfect. That gives us time to finish the quarterly budget review before things get interesting. You want to do paperwork now? Foster asked, surprised. Ben, if there's one thing I've learned in 30 years of service, it's that paperwork doesn't stop for anyone, not even alien invasions. She turned to her computer. Besides, I want to see their faces when they realize what they're actually up against. Yes, General. And Ben? Ma'am? Order pizza for the staff tonight. I think it's going to be a long but interesting week. As the sun set over the Rocky Mountains, Earth continued to spin peacefully, seemingly unconcerned that the most powerful interstellar alliance in the known galaxy had just declared its intention to destroy it. Captain Susan Grant stood on the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Steadfast, watching the main screen as 50 alien warships emerged from faster-than-light travel. The ships were shaped like arrowheads with glowing purple engines. They moved into attack formation quickly. "They're right on time," Susan said, checking her watch. "Send the standard greeting." Lieutenant Kevin Adams looked up from his communications panel. "Standard greeting? Not the emergency war protocols?" "Standard greeting," Susan repeated calmly. "Let's be polite." Kevin nodded and sent the message. The bridge crew continued their normal duties. No one looked worried despite being outnumbered, 50-1. The main screen flickered, showing the face of an alien commander. He had blue scales and 4 eyes that blinked in an unsettling pattern. "This is Commander Tralvex of the Galactic Council Fleet," the alien announced. "You will power down your weapons and surrender immediately. This is your only warning." Susan smiled politely. "Good afternoon, Commander. This is Captain Susan Grant of the Earth defense vessel Steadfast. I'm afraid I must decline your request. Perhaps you would like to reconsider your approach? Council protocols do allow for peaceful resolution even after a war declaration." The alien commander's scales darkened with anger. "You dare suggest terms? Our fleet will destroy your single ship as a demonstration of council power. That would be unfortunate," Susan replied, still smiling. "We've prepared refreshments in anticipation of possible visitors." The alien commander cut the communication. "They're charging weapons," reported Security Officer Pete Johnson. Susan nodded. "Activate defense measures, minimal response package only." The crew tapped commands into their stations with calm precision. Outside the ship, panels opened to reveal weapon systems that had been hidden. "They're firing," Pete called out. The first volley of alien energy beams streaked toward the Steadfast. Moments before impact, a shimmering blue field appeared around the Earth ship. The beams hit the field and disappeared. "Shield effectiveness at 98%, reported Engineer Linda Dawson from her station. "Exactly as predicted in simulations." "Return. Fire," Susan ordered. "Target weapon systems only." The Steadfast fired 6 small missiles. Each one split into multiple warheads just before reaching the alien ships. Explosions bloomed across the enemy fleet. 8 enemy ships disabled, Pete reported. "No complete destructions as requested." The alien fleet regrouped and launched a second, larger attack. Energy beams and missiles filled space between the ships. Susan sipped from a coffee mug as the bridge rocked slightly from impact. "Status? Shield at 76%, Linda replied. "We can maintain this exchange for 2 hours at current rates." "That won't be necessary," Susan said. "Activate the secondary defense grid." Around Earth, 20 satellites that had appeared to be ordinary communication relays suddenly changed position. They emitted thin blue beams that connected to form a web around the planet. When the next wave of alien weapons hit this web, the energy was absorbed and redirected back toward the attacking fleet. 7 more alien ships exploded. The rest began to retreat. "They're falling back," Pete announced. 15 enemy ships destroyed, or disabled. The rest are preparing for faster-than-light jump. "Let them go," Susan ordered. "Power down weapons but maintain shields." The bridge crew returned to standard operations as the alien fleet disappeared. "Skirmish duration, 12 minutes and 23 seconds, noted Kevin. Susan nodded. "Prepare. Incident report. Classification, minor incident Class B." "Class B?" Linda asked. "Not Class A? We just fought off 50 alien warships." "They only deployed standard weapons," Susan explained. "No planet killers, no time distortion fields, not even basic antimatter missiles. This was just a test of our defenses." She stood up. "I'll be in my office completing the maintenance review we started this morning." As Susan left the bridge, the crew exchanged small smiles. The aliens had no idea what they were really up against. On the Eternal Glory, Admiral Zixvalar received the battle report with stunned disbelief. 15 ships lost? To a single Earth vessel? His scales paled to a sickly white color. Commander, Nixtal stood rigidly at attention. The reports indicate they have shield technology far beyond our estimates, and some kind of planetary defense system we did not detect until it activated. How is this possible? The Admiral hissed. Our intelligence said they were a Class 3 civilization at best. The alien prisoners sat in a clean, well-lit room with comfortable chairs and a table filled with various Earth foods. They were being treated more like guests than captives. 5 council soldiers with blue scales watched nervously as Dr. Alan Peterson entered the room. Dr. Peterson was a tall man with gray hair and glasses. He wore a simple lab coat over casual clothes. Nothing about him seemed threatening, yet the aliens tensed as he approached. "Good morning," Alan said with a smile. "I hope you found your quarters comfortable. I'm Dr. Peterson, head of Earth's Weapons Development Program." The highest-ranking alien prisoner, Lieutenant Kralvex, glared at him. "We will tell you nothing. Human." "Oh, I'm not here to question you," Alan replied, sitting down and helping himself to a donut. "I'm here to answer your questions. You must be confused about what happened yesterday." The aliens exchanged looks of surprise. "You expect us to believe you will share military information?" Kralvex asked. Alan shrugged. "Most of what I'll tell you isn't secret. In fact, much of it is taught in our schools." He took a bite of his donut, then pushed a plate toward the aliens. "Try these. They're quite good." One of the younger aliens cautiously picked up a donut and sniffed it. "Why were you not afraid?" Kralvex demanded. "When the Council declares war, worlds tremble." Alan smiled. "Humans have been preparing for alien conflicts for centuries, not because we wanted war, but because we considered it inevitable. It's practically a cultural hobby." "Impossible," Kralvex said. "Your species only achieved space travel recently." "True, but we've been imagining meeting aliens since before we had electricity." Alan pulled out a tablet and showed them book covers, movie posters, and game images, all depicting alien invasions. For over 200 years, humans have been telling stories about aliens coming to Earth, some friendly, many not. The youngest alien had taken a bite of donut and was now looking at it with surprise and pleasure. "These stories helped prepare us psychologically," Alan continued. "When we finally developed space travel and discovered actual alien life, nobody panicked. We'd been mentally ready for generations." "Stories don't build advanced shield technology," Kralvex noted. "No, but they inspire it," Alan replied. "Many of our scientists grew up reading these stories. When they became engineers and physicists, they worked to build the technologies they had dreamed about." He showed them more images: early space rockets, then advanced ships, defense systems, and energy weapons. "We've been developing these technologies for decades but kept them quiet. We figured it was better if the galaxy underestimated us." On Earth's news networks, the alien attack was being reported alongside weather forecasts and sports results. In a coffee shop in Denver, people watched screens showing footage of the space battle. "Can you turn that up?" asked a customer as he waited for his order. The barista raised the volume slightly. "Officials confirmed that 15 alien vessels were disabled in yesterday's encounter," the news anchor reported calmly. "Earth Defense Forces report minimal damage and no casualties. President Nelson has scheduled a brief statement for later today, but has emphasized that all normal activities should continue." The customer nodded, took his coffee, and left. Outside, the streets were normal. Children went to school, people went to work, and life continued as usual. The only differences were the occasional glances skyward and slightly more military vehicles on the roads. In the Council's main analysis center, researchers examined the wreckage of ships returned from the Earth battle. They had never seen technology like this before. "The energy absorption coefficients are off the charts," said one analyst, poking at a fragment of Earth shield technology. "And look at these missile guidance systems. They're using principles we've never considered." Chief Analyst Jorbax shook his head in disbelief. How could a species this young develop such advanced technology? Sir, called another analyst from across the room. I've been monitoring their communications. Look at these broadcasts from just the past day. On the screen appeared TV shows, news reports, and social media posts. All showed humans going about their daily lives despite knowing they were at war with the Council. Children played in parks, workers went to offices, stores remained open. They're not afraid, Jorbax whispered. Why aren't they afraid? There's something else, the analyst said. I found years of entertainment programs about alien invasions. Hundreds of them. Different scenarios, different aliens, but always the same result. Humans win. They've been mentally rehearsing this exact situation for generations. Jorbax stared at Tan. It appears our intelligence was incorrect, sir. The Admiral turned to stare at the view screen showing the distant Earth. Contact the Council. Tell them, we need the main battle fleet, all of it. Sir, Nixtal said cautiously, perhaps we should reconsider this conflict. Reconsider? The Admiral's voice was dangerously quiet. The Council does not retreat. We will crush this human insolence, whatever it takes. Grand Admiral Zix Vaylor stood before the full Galactic Council, his scales a deep purple with stress. The massive chamber was silent as he finished his report on the failed first attack. Therefore, he concluded, I request deployment of the main battle fleet. All 8,000 ships. Murmurs spread through the chamber. No species had ever required the full battle fleet before. High Chancellor Vorthax leaned forward. The cost will be enormous. Are you certain this is necessary? The humans have technology we did not anticipate, the Admiral replied. Our intelligence was wrong. They are not a simple developing world. The Council voted. The motion passed, though not unanimously. Several peaceful species abstained, looking troubled. You have your fleet, Admiral, Vorthax announced. The Council expects results. Major Frank Rivera stood in Earth's Orbital Defense Command Center. The circular room was filled with screens showing space around Earth. 50 people worked at stations, monitoring systems and running checks. Status report, Frank called out. Lieutenant Heidi Clark looked up from her station. All orbital platforms show green, power levels at standby, weapon systems masked. Good. Frank studied the main screen showing dots representing incoming Council ships. They're mobilizing their main fleet, estimated arrival in 18 hours. That's a lot of dots, Heidi observed calmly. About 8,000 by our count, Frank replied. Time to show them what we've really got. He pressed his palm against a scanner. A new screen appeared showing hundreds of satellites surrounding Earth. Activate Defense Grid Protocol Alpha, he ordered. Authorization Rivera 479 Delta. Around Earth, satellites that had appeared to be weather monitors, communication relays, and scientific instruments began to change. Hidden panels opened, revealing weapons and shield generators. The satellites moved into new positions, forming a complex web around the planet. Defense grid activating, announced the system voice. Estimated completion time, 4 hours. Frank nodded. Right on schedule. Now let's make sure the ground crews are ready. In a field outside Houston, engineer Ray Johnson led a team preparing a massive ground-based cannon. The huge weapon was hidden inside what looked like a grain silo. Power check, Ray called out. Power systems at 98%, replied his assistant. Targeting systems online. Similar scenes played out across Earth. In the Sahara Desert, the Amazon rainforest, and beneath the Pacific Ocean, hidden defense systems were being brought online. None had been visible to the Council's scouts. Ray wiped sweat from his forehead. Better call for more maintenance staff. These systems have been on standby for years. We'll need extra hands to keep them running at full capacity. His assistant nodded. I'll file the request. Standard overtime pay? Yeah, Ray said. And order some pizzas. It's going to be a long night. On the lunar surface, Lieutenant Owen Kelly watched as hidden bunkers opened to reveal missile launchers and energy. Weapons. Luna-based defenses at 60% and rising, reported Sergeant Judy Miller. Mars base reports they'll be ready in 2 hours. Owen nodded. Any word from the Jupiter stations? All green. They're especially eager to try out those new gravity disruptors. Owen smiled slightly. The Council has no idea we have bases throughout the solar system, do they? Nope, Judy replied with a grin. They thought those were just mining operations. In the White House Situation Room, President Jack Nelson met with his defense counsel. The room was calm despite the crisis. The Admiral was right, General Rogers reported. They're bringing everything they've got. As expected, the President replied. Are our people ready? Yes, sir. Major Rivera has activated the orbital grid. Ground and space forces are at full readiness. The President nodded. And our response strategy? Still as planned, sir. Defense only. No attacks on civilian targets. We want to end this war, not extend. Door's good. The President stood up. I need to address the public again. Any suggestions? Secretary of State Will Harris smiled. Keep it brief. Remind people to stick to their routines. Maybe mention that baseball games will continue as scheduled. Baseball during an alien invasion, the President chuckled. Nothing says Earth isn't worried, quite like that. Council Intelligence Officer Zal Thorne had spent 3 days on Earth disguised as a human. His skin-changing technology let him appear as a middle-aged man with brown hair. He walked through a shopping mall in Chicago, amazed by what he saw. Humans shopped, ate, and talked as if nothing was wrong. Children played in an indoor playground. Teenagers tried on clothes and looked at their phones. Nobody seemed worried about the massive alien fleet heading their way. Zal Thorne stopped at a store selling electronic devices. On display screens, news reports showed updates about the coming battle. The humans around him glanced at the news, then continued shopping. Crazy about those aliens, huh? Said a store worker approaching him. Zal Thorne tensed, worried his disguise had failed. Yes, very crazy. My brother's in the Space Force, the worker continued. Says it's all under control. You buying anything today? Just looking, Zal Thorne replied, relieved. Do you have games about alien invasions? The worker laughed. About half our game section, sir. They've been popular forever. In the game section, Zal Thorne found dozens of titles featuring aliens attacking Earth. Many aliens looked remarkably like council species. In all these games, humans won. Later, he visited a public library and searched through old books and movies. Humans had been creating stories about fighting aliens for centuries. They had imagined every possible way aliens might attack, and every possible way to defeat them. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to enjoy these stories. That evening, Zal Thorne found himself in a neighborhood backyard party. Humans grilled meat and drank beer while children played. A large screen showed a baseball game, occasionally interrupted by news about the approaching council fleet. He stood near the grill trying to look normal when a woman approached him. You're not from around here, are you? She asked with a friendly smile. His heart beat faster. Just visiting from out of town. I'm Diane Miller, she said, offering her hand. Engineer at the local power plant. He shook her hand carefully. John Smith. He had chosen the name from a list of common human names. So, John, what do you think about all this alien business? Diane asked, sipping her drink. Zal Thorne chose his words carefully. I'm surprised everyone is so calm, Diane laughed. What else would we be? Panicking doesn't help anything. But the council fleet is massive, he said. Thousands of ships. Aren't you afraid? She looked at him curiously. Should we be? We've been expecting someone to show up and start trouble since we first looked at the stars. Would have been weirder if nobody came. Zal Thorne couldn't understand this attitude. How can you be so prepared? It's just what humans do, Diane said, shrugging. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. My grandpa had a fallout shelter for nuclear war. My dad had emergency supplies for natural disasters. I keep extra food and water for whatever comes next. Aliens, climate problems, asteroids, doesn't matter. Being ready just makes sense. The conversation was interrupted by excited shouts from the children. Zal Thorne looked over to see them playing with toy spaceships. Half the children were humans defending Earth. The others were aliens attacking. The human side was winning easily. "My kid can name more alien invasion movies than I can," Diane said, following his gaze. "His favorite game is Galactic Defender. He's been playing it since he was 7. Zalthorn felt cold despite the warm evening. The children were play-acting combat strategies that matched actual Council military protocols. "I should go," he said suddenly. "Already? The fireworks are starting soon." "Fireworks?" "Yeah," Diane said. "Town does them every Friday in summer. Just because aliens declared war doesn't mean we cancel the fun stuff." As Zalthorn hurried away, the first colorful explosions lit up the night sky. For a moment he mistook them for weapons fire and ducked behind a car, but the humans around him just looked up and smiled at the display. He tapped a hidden communicator on his wrist. "This is Intelligence Officer Xal Thorne requesting immediate extraction. I have critical information for the Council." As he waited for a response, a young boy ran past holding a toy spaceship making pew-pew sounds. "I got you, alien," the boy shouted happily. "Earth wins again." Zalthorn had never felt so unsettled in his entire career. As they filed out of the room, an aide approached General Rogers. "Ma'am, Major Rivera has submitted a requisition for additional maintenance staff due to, quote, higher than anticipated operational tempo." Rogers nodded. "Approve it, and tell him good work." The maintenance request was filed and processed through normal channels, even as the largest alien fleet in Council history approached Earth with the intention of destroying it. The main Council fleet arrived in Earth's solar system with a flash of light. 8,000 warships spread out in attack formation. On the flagship Eternal Glory, Grand Admiral Zix Vaylor watched the blue planet on his view screen. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "All ships fire on my command." Before his officers could respond, a message came through. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from Earth." Zix Vaylor frowned. "Put it on screen." The image of a human appeared. He wore a simple blue uniform with small silver stars on the collar. "This is Admiral Paul Martinez of Earth Fleet Command," the human said calmly. "I'm reaching out to offer you a chance to avoid unnecessary losses." "You dare speak of losses?" Zix Vaylor laughed. "Look around you, human. 8,000 Council ships against your pitiful defenses." Admiral Martinez nodded politely. "Yes, I can see your fleet. Impressive mobilization. However, I'm authorized to offer terms. Leave our solar system peacefully, and we'll consider this unfortunate conflict resolved." The Council officers on the bridge looked at each other in disbelief. "You are in no position to offer terms," Zix Vaylor said. "Surrender now, or be destroyed." "I was afraid you might say that," Martinez replied. "Please hold for a moment." The screen split to show multiple views of Earth and its surrounding space. Thousands of defense platforms that had been hidden suddenly became visible. The moon's surface opened in multiple places, revealing massive weapon systems. Ships appeared from behind Mars and Jupiter's moons. "As you can see," Martinez continued, "we're not as defenseless as your intelligence suggested. We've been preparing for this possibility for generations." Zix Vaylor's scales paled. "This is impossible. Your species only achieved spaceflight recently." "We achieved public spaceflight recently," Martinez corrected. "Our military developments have always stayed private. Preparing for the worst while hoping for the best is just what we do." The Admiral stared at the screen, recalculating his odds of success. The human defenses were far greater than expected, but he still had numbers on his side. "It changes nothing," he declared. "The Council does not retreat. All ships commence firing." The battle for Earth began with a massive exchange of fire. Council ships launched energy beams and missiles toward the planet. Earth's defense grid activated, creating a shimmering shield that stopped most attacks. Those that got through were intercepted by smaller defensive weapons. From Earth's surface, people could see flashes of light in the daytime sky. In parks and streets, humans looked up, pointed, and took pictures with their phones. Schools moved recess indoors, but classes continued. Restaurants remained open. Life went on. In the Galactic Council chamber, the situation grew tense as battle reports arrived. Many Council ships were being destroyed, while Earth's defenses remained strong. "This is unacceptable," said Delegate Krax of the Toran Federation. "We were told this would be an easy victory." "The humans are more advanced than we thought," replied another delegate. "Perhaps we should reconsider this war." The chamber divided into angry groups. Some demanded sending more ships. Others argued for peace talks. The peaceful Ventusian representative stood to speak. "If we had studied humans more carefully, we might have seen this coming. Their history is filled with conflicts and survival. Against great odds, they prepare constantly for threats, both real and imagined." High Chancellor Vorthax looked troubled. "What do you suggest?" "Send a diplomatic team. Find out what they really want." In orbit around Earth, Admiral Martinez watched from his flagship as the battle continued. Human ships moved with practiced precision, disabling Council vessels when possible rather than destroying them. "Status report," Martinez called out. "Defense grid holding at 83%, an officer replied. "We've disabled or destroyed nearly 2,000 enemy ships. Our losses are minimal." Martinez nodded. "The Council ships are falling back. They're regrouping near Mars orbit. Should we pursue, sir?" "No, hold position." Martinez studied the tactical display. "They're learning that we're not easy prey. Let's give them time to reconsider." His communication officer looked up. "Sir, we're receiving a message from the Council. They're requesting a ceasefire and talks." 3 weeks after the battle, Commander Lisa Moore walked through the crystal halls of the Galactic Council once more. This time, the alien delegates watched her with respect and caution. Some even nodded politely as she passed. Lisa wore the same simple Navy uniform, but now she walked toward a new desk. Not the small one in the corner where Earth had been assigned as a minor species, but a large desk on the main floor, positioned among the major powers of the galaxy. High Chancellor Vorthax called the session to order. His 4 hands held a new scroll. "Today we formalize peace between the Council and Earth," he announced. "The war's officially ended." The chamber was quiet. Many delegates who had eagerly voted for war now looked down at their desks. "Representative Moore," Vorthax continued, "Earth has earned a full Council seat. Please take your position." Lisa smiled and sat at the new desk. She placed a simple folder before her and a cup of coffee at her right hand. "On behalf of Earth, I thank the Council for this recognition," she said. "We look forward to peaceful cooperation." The terms of peace were simple. The Council acknowledged Earth's right to defend itself and its solar system. Earth agreed to share some of its defensive technology while keeping its most advanced systems private. All prisoners would be returned home. "Most impressive," said the Ventusian representative after the meeting. "Your species handled war so calmly." Lisa shrugged. "We've had a lot of practice, both real and imagined. Council researchers spent months studying human history and culture. They were amazed by what they found." In the main research center, on the Council homeworld, a special exhibit displayed human books, movies, and games about alien contact. "Their imagination is remarkable," said Chief Researcher Jorbax, leading a group of officials through the exhibit. "For hundreds of years before they met any alien species, they were imagining us, what we might look like, how we might act, what would happen if we came as friends or enemies." He stopped at a display showing human military history. Most fascinating of all is their psychological resilience. Throughout their history, humans faced countless disasters, plagues, wars, climate shifts. Yet they always survived, always rebuilt. This created a species that prepares for the worst but never loses hope. A Council military officer studied the display. "Their weapons advancement is unprecedented. In just a few hundred years, they went from simple chemical explosives to energy shields that our best weapons couldn't penetrate. That's because they never stopped imagining threats," Jorbax explained. "When they had no real enemies, they invented them. Then they created defenses against these imaginary threats. When real danger appeared, they were ready." On Earth, life returned completely to normal. The battle was already becoming a part of history lessons and new entertainment. Children played new games based on the actual Council ships they had seen in the sky. In the White House, President Jack Nelson met with his council one last time before many of them returned to their regular duties. "Well," he said with a smile, "that was certainly an interesting month." General Rogers nodded. "The technology exchange is going well. The council seems genuinely interested in a lasting peace. And our new council seat gives us a voice in galactic politics," added Secretary Harris. "Not bad for a species they thought was barely worth noticing a month ago." "What about the defense systems?" the president asked. "We're keeping the most advanced ones classified as agreed," General Rogers replied. "But honestly, the council representatives seem more interested in our movies and books than our weapons now," the president laughed. 200 years of science fiction finally pays off. "Should we start scaling back emergency measures?" asked another advisor. The president thought for a moment. "Keep everything ready, just in case. Being prepared is what got us here." That evening, Commander Lisa Moore stood on the observation deck of the council station. Earth shone like a blue jewel in the distance. Beside her stood Admiral Paul Martinez, who had arrived for technology exchange discussions. "Did you ever imagine it would end this way?" Lisa asked. "With Earth as a respected power rather than a conquered world?" Paul smiled. "To be honest, yes. We spent generations preparing for this exact moment. The council researchers still can't believe how calm everyone stayed through the whole thing." "That's the human secret," Paul replied, looking out at the stars. "After facing so many real and imagined disasters, we learned that panic never helps. Better to stay calm, work the problem, and keep living your life." Lisa nodded. "And always, be prepared for whatever comes next." As they watched, a new group of council ships approached the station, not for war this time, but for the first official diplomatic and cultural exchange with Earth. The next chapter in human galactic relations was just beginning. A small smile crossed Martinez's face. "Now we're getting somewhere. Prepare a meeting room, and let's get some decent coffee ready. I have a feeling these talks might take a while." The battle paused as both sides considered their next moves. In homes across Earth, families watched. The news about the ceasefire over dinner discussed it briefly, then moved on to more immediate concerns like homework and upcoming weekend plans.